And a very happy afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess back with Think and Grow Rich, and today we'll go through Organized Planning Part 3. Now, Part 1, we talked about the plans for the creation of your desire, and I really hope you have that desire written down, it's in writing, and you've started to develop the perfect plan. No, excuse me. You've started to develop the definite plan. See, everybody's waiting around for the perfect plan. It's got to be perfect before I take action. Oh my gosh, I can't do anything. Wait a minute. What if that fails? Well, what if it goes right? You know, there's a saying, I believe it was Thomas Carlyle. He said, go as far as you can see. When you get there, you'll see how to go farther. So hopefully the plan's in place. You've taken some intelligent action on the plan. And now in part 2, we talked about leadership. And leadership, once again, we could go on and on and on for weeks about leadership. I mean, truly we could. We actually have the material. We could train leadership for, oh my gosh, 3-4 days, just the subject of leadership and what it takes to be the correct leader, be the efficient, effective leader, not the correct leader, the efficient and the effective leader. And then he goes into, in the book, he talks about some fertile fields in which new leadership will be required. He says, before leaving this chapter, your attention is called to a few of the fertile fields in which there has been a decline of leadership. He wrote that in 1937. How about if we really pay attention to what's going on in our world today? Let's talk about a few of the fields where we need new leadership. Let's talk about a few of the industries. I don't have to talk about them. Think about it for a minute. Everywhere we need good leaders. People who lead by example. People who go the extra mile. People who truly have compassion for the followers. Not just want the followers so they can earn money from them, but they have compassion for them and their families. Almost every industry out there is looking for good quality leaders like that. There's no question about it. The next thing he talks about in this chapter is how to create, he calls it a written brief. Let's just call that, in today's words, a resume. And he goes into great detail about how to prepare a proper resume. And he goes into great detail. Now, I'm not going to go into that in this chapter today, because I believe if you really want to have a resume put together, let's utilize specialized knowledge, which is a chapter we'll be coming up to, or we already have come up to, let's utilize that and let somebody who specializes in the creation of the proper formatting of the resume and the wording and wordsmithing of it, let them do it. And let's utilize their talents and their energy and their expertise and what they've mastered and allow them to do it so we don't have to. So that's really, he talks about the information that should be supplied, and what he says is this brief should be prepared as carefully as a lawyer would prepare the brief of a case to be tried in court. So in other words, you want to make sure that you put some time and energy into the resume. Yeah, I mean, if you're truly looking for a career opportunity, not just a job. Anybody can get a job, man. The fast food places are hiring. Most of the department stores are hiring. If you're just looking for a job, you can get one. However, if you're looking for an opportunity, a career opportunity, that's a different type of a ball game. It might be a really good idea to have somebody else prepare that resume and go through this and follow what Napoleon Hill's talking about. Talks about how to get that exact position you desire. He goes through it and once again in great depth. But what I'd like to talk about today is what we call the QQS principle. Quality, quantity, and spirit of service. The QQS principle. Now, I had this one all backwards. I had it all wrong when I first started reading this book. And most people don't have this one correct. We could all get better at it. So what QQS really means is quality, quantity, and spirit of service. That's really all it is. And he says, what is your QQS rating? He says the causes of success in marketing services effectively and permanently have been clearly described. Unless those causes are studied, analyzed, understood, and applied, no man can market his services effectively and permanently. Every person must be his own salesman of personal services. Every one of us is our own salesperson of who we are. We're selling to our kids the idea of doing the right thing. We're selling to our spouse the idea of being in perfect harmony with our objectives and our direction we want to go. So we're always in sales. I love those people who say, oh, I'm not in sales. I've never sold a thing in my life. And I like to ask them a simple question. Are you married? Well, yes. You've been selling for a long time then. A long time you've been selling your ideas. So he goes into that. Excuse me. So he says, the quality and the quantity of service rendered and the spirit in which it is rendered determine to a large extent the price and the duration of employment. Now, when he talks about duration of employment, he isn't just talking about whether or not you have a job. He's also talking about people and companies who provide services to other companies or to other people. Okay? So it's across the board. Excuse me. He says, let us analyze the formula to make sure we understand exactly what it means. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a critical part of us becoming the best that we can be. Quality of service shall be construed to mean the performance of every detail in connection with your position in the most efficient manner possible, with the object of greater efficiency always in mind. So are we always putting out the best quality that we can? Quantity of service shall be understood to mean the habit. It's a habit, ladies and gentlemen. It becomes a habit of rendering all the service of which you are capable at all times, with the purpose of increasing the amount of service rendered as greater skill is developed through practice and experience. Emphasis, again, is placed on the word habit. What kind of habits do you have in your workday? Do you have the habits of producing as much as you can and with high quality? That's a fair question, ladies and gentlemen. And then spirit. Spirit of service shall be construed to mean the habit of agreeable, harmonious conduct, which will induce cooperation from associates and fellow employees. Now, I want to break this down. Spirit is very simple. Are you doing the work with a good attitude or a bad attitude? If you're doing it with a good attitude, then you have a great spirit. If you're doing it with a bad attitude, well, you know the answer to that one. Now he continues here. He says, adequacy of quality and quantity of service is not sufficient to maintain a permanent market for your services. The conduct or the spirit in which you deliver service is a strong determining factor in connection with both the price you receive and the duration of employment. Spirit. He says Carnegie stressed this point more than others in connection with his description of the factors which lead to success in marketing of personal services. He emphasized again and again the necessity for harmonious conduct. Harmonious conduct. I think we've already heard several times where perfect harmony does not exist, you can expect to meet with failure. I believe we've heard that. He stressed the fact that he would not retain any man. Please pay attention to this. This is so important. He stressed the fact that he would not retain any man, no matter how great a quantity or how efficient the quality of his work, unless he worked in a spirit of harmony. So in other words, if you have somebody doing a great job, but they kind of bring this cesspool of negativity into the business with them, it's not worth having them. It's absolutely not worth having them. They either have to remove the negativity or you have to remove them. It's just the way it works. Otherwise, that one person will contaminate the entire workforce. Every bit of it, that one person. Mr. Carnegie insisted upon men being agreeable. To prove that, he placed a high value upon this quality. He permitted many men who conformed to this standards to become very wealthy. So in other words, they didn't have to be the greatest on the planet at what they did. They had to be adequate. They certainly had to do a good job. Let's not make any mistake on that one. But they had to have a good attitude. They had to be agreeable. They had to work in harmony. Now, agreeable doesn't mean that you're just a yes person. What agreeable means is, once you've put together the mastermind, And let's say the majority of the mastermind thinks that this one idea is the best idea to move forward, but you think, well, you got this little doubt in you. But the whole of the mastermind really believes this. No, that's when you need to put your own doubts aside. Okay? And think it all the way through. That's what he's talking about when he talks about agreeable. He's not talking about just sitting around and say yes, 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 yes. That's not what he's saying. Once again, you read this book enough, you get in between the lines of it. He says the importance of a pleasing personality has been stressed because it is a factor which enables one to render service in the proper spirit. If one has a personality that pleases and renders service in a spirit of harmony, these assets often make up for deficiencies in both quality and quantity of service one renders. I remember talking to a gentleman who has a heating and air conditioning company. And, excuse me, this one tech does a good job, but he's not the best tech on his crew. But he does a really, really good job. He cleans up after himself. It's not that he does a poor quality of work. However, his personality is off the charts magnetic. He's extremely agreeable, very harmonious, very easy to get along with. And this gentleman tells me he has more requests for this tech than any other tech on his crew. And he says he has many techs with much more experience, many techs that one would say are better techs. Well, once again, this tech isn't a slouch. It's not that he doesn't do a good job. But he has a spirit of harmony which gets him his name referred over and over. They ask for this guy over and over and over again. And as soon as he told me that story, I went right to this book and said, this is what's going on. And he agreed. He said, absolutely that's happening. I do have techs with more experience. I do have techs that earn more money, that they've been with me longer. But this guy, these people ask for him. Oh, once he's been to somebody's house, that person goes back to the house over and over and over again. He's responsible for repeat customers over and over and over again because of that pleasing personality. Amazing, isn't it? Napoleon wrote about this in 1937. He says, nothing can be substituted successfully for a pleasing personality. Nothing can be substituted for a pleasing personality. So I ask you to be very honest with yourself today. And what is your QQS rating? If you were to put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, quality, quantity, and spirit of service, how do you rate? How do you rate? It's a fair question. It's absolutely a fair question. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. If you like, leave a comment. You can leave a comment. Tell us how do you feel you rated the QQS principle. Now, I'll tell you what. If you leave a comment and you leave leave me your email address, I will send you a brand new copy of Think and Grow Rich, and totally at our expense. We're not asking you to pay shipping. We're not asking you to do anything. Leave your email address. Leave a comment. What is your QQS rating? And do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. Share this with all your friends and your family members because this is some very powerful information. I believe the information saved my life. We say it changed my life. It definitely changed it, and I think that ultimately saved it. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, one of our greatest desires is for this day to be the very best day that you have ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter. It's ancient history. Tomorrow isn't here. You can't do anything but prepare ourselves for it and prepare ourselves to give in it. However, today, right now, we can do something about this day by deciding that this will be the best day of my life. Tonight, when you put your head on a pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom, and may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day.